We're here, Contamination 3D. We're here to talk about a few things. One of the things, one of my favorite movies of all time is the Mad Max series, which the Road Warrior came out. I remember watching Mad Max at the drive-in many moons ago there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And what was the experience like with that?
It was fine, and I would like to point out it probably wasn't that many moons ago. Just
only like a year ago.
Yeah, good. It was great. I mean, it was the first movie that I ever made, so it was like starting off at the top, and you know what happens when you start at the top, that it one way down. I was just very fortunate in being cast in it and working with amazing actors, amazing crew, and an out-of-control amazing director in George Miller. And, people come up and they tell me all the time, that, you were just so amazing in the film. I had an amazing director, truly. If I had had any other director, I don't think the film would have been half as good, and I know that my performance wouldn't have been anywhere near as good. George was just amazing to work with, and he understood the genre so well, and he knew exactly what he wanted. And I think that's what made the film so successful. And he was on something really good to know that writing that film was going to be relevant 20-odd years later.
And it's still, today, you watch that movie and still kind of understand and get the gist of it. But the amazing thing is so many people, yourself and Mel Gibson, we all, moved on to many bigger, brighter things.
Oh yeah, it's kind of fun to think that Mel, myself, and George really are the names that kind of moved into mainstream cinema here in America. And at one stage, Mel was working at Warner Brothers, I was working at Warner Brothers, and George was working at Warner Brothers, and we were all on separate projects, and we never got to see each other. We're all on the same studio lot, but because everybody was so busy, we never got to see each other, which I've always thought was kind of weird. But yeah, we moved on and got to do much better things.
And I know that another movie I probably watched 1 billion times was Commando, and you played Bennett in Commando.
Yes, the Arnold Schwarzenegger film. Yeah. When I got that film, I couldn't even pronounce his name. I had no idea who he was. But like, who? I want to work with a bodybuilder. Oh, this will be fun. It really was. It was fun to do, and it turned out to be a great movie. I mean, it's just one of those. It's the iconic '80s movie. I mean, all the dialogue is so cliche. All of the situations are so cliche. And, the gun that never empties, the killing 100 guys at a time, all of those wonderful things that happened in 80s movies. And nobody ever has blood, It's like they all die, I'm not sure probably from laughing. And it was just one of those wonderful 80s films, and you just can't duplicate that.
And that's it just kind of, carries over still. I mean, I noticed that with the time, I mean, they're starting to go back into that genre.
They call it retro.
Yeah, we don't like to use retro.
Don't you love that? Makes you feel like you're 300 years old. Oh yeah, we're going to do a retro remake of it. It's like, oh dear God,
It's probably why I still save my wardrobes from many years back, so when it comes back in style, I'm right there.
You're actually above the cutting edge.
Yeah. They'll be like, where'd you get that? 30 years ago.
Yeah, it still fits, damn it.
Somewhat, yeah. But you got a new film coming out, Nowhere Else, that was filmed in Australia.
Yep, one will do. This is it. It's a horror movie based on a true story about 3 documentary filmmakers in Australia who were coming back from shooting some surfers.
It's all good.
That was my latte. Thank you. That was my latte that arrived in the middle of the shop, but that's okay. 3 documentary filmmakers who were coming back from the beach after shooting some surfers, who saw this large animal sitting on a fence, and they thought it was an eagle, a big wedge-tailed eagle, which we have in Australia. But something about it kind of caught their eye, which was different, so they decided to go back and have a look, and they noticed that it looked like it was wrapped in like a silicone wrapping. So they walked towards it to have a look. And as they got closer, it unfurled its wings, which were about 12 feet wide, and instead of taking off and flying away from them, it just spiraled up into the air in circles, getting higher and higher until it just vanished from. And none of them filmed it. They were all so intrigued. They all just stood there watching this thing going, oh my God, it's a bat. And it was about 5 feet tall, a little over 5 feet, they estimated. And they're called cryptic bats, and they're called kind of just a variation on fruit bats and things like that. Fruit bats can grow to be about 4 feet tall. There are documented photographs of 4-foot fruit bats, large bats, and some of the flying foxes get to be very tall, very big. So Daniel heard the story and interviewed the filmmakers, the documentary filmmakers, and he took it a little further. He made them around 5 foot, 5.5 feet tall, and he gave them this attitude that bowerbirds have where they collect trinkets for their mate. They keep giving their mate gifts. And he made them that once they had killed their prey or killed whoever it was, that they took a certain part of the body and they used that as a gift to their mate. The males were giving a gift to their mate. So he based it on that assumption, and he just turned it into a horror film, which is part of all of our sort of scary nights. Bats are so ingrained into our subconscious because of vampires and all of this stuff, and then you see things of bats, and there are vampire bats that actually suck blood, even though they're tiny little things. And so we have an inbuilt fear of bats anyway. It's like, bats, yeah, you're sort of, you're like, bats, I don't like bats. And so he working off that, you already have a built-in fear factor for the film. And it's not based on blood and guts and sex and all this kind of thing. It's actually made, once again, harking back to the horror films that we all used to love to go, and it's the bump in the night, and don't go in that room because, oh my God, don't go in that room, there's something in there, that kind of thing. So it's more of that than like the naked women and the blood and guts. I mean, there is blood in it and there is a lot of fear in it, but it's not dependent on that. It's got a good story, good cast, and the whole thing.
And the other thing about it is this was actually filmed in Australia.
Yes, which adds so much to it because the vista is so big, it's so wide, there's so much that just makes the story bigger, and it actually adds to what's going on. It makes you believe that this actually could be happening out there. We shot on a property that was 3 hours from civilization. The buildings we worked in were 180 odd years old. The farmhouse was over 180 years old. The shearing sheds were well over 180 years old. So you had all of this adding to the dimension of the film, which I think just gave it that added little push that I think will make everybody go, whoa.
There's been a lot of films come out from Australia that are just amazing films. And this one's going to be getting some release here in the United States?
Yes, I believe about the middle of next month we're doing all of the screenings for the distributors, and we're hoping to get a release here. We're not hoping, we're going to get a release here. It's a good film. And we've got 2 others in the pipeline. There's 2 sequels to it, because the first one is part A of a part A and B story. So it's the first half of the story. So there'll be a second one which completes the story. Then there's a third which makes it a trilogy.
Sort of a cliffhanger.
On the first one, yes. On the second one, it just kind of finishes, and you know that there's probably, if there's enough response, there'll be a third one coming along.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of response, because I watched the trailer a few days ago, and it got me where I was like, yeah, I was like watching. I was like, I want to see the rest of this now. I mean, it was a great trailer, and I think I think that's on YouTube right now.
It's on YouTube, yeah. If you go to YouTube, just look up Nowhere Else, you'll see the trailer, which is a 2-minute trailer, and I get to say the best line in the movie at the end of the trailer, so it's kind of fun.
And we'll have that link up on purecast.net. We'll put it up there for everyone to, if you need it, or we'll put it down on the link section below so people can click on it and find it. The one thing that's really amazing is the films that are coming out of Australia. Are a lot of those indie films, or they have budgets behind them?
Well, most of them are indie films. Australia tends to shoot films that are not made with the huge budgets that American productions are made with, except for the large films. I mean, a lot of American-backed films are made over there, and they're, $100 million films, $80 million films. But your average film in Australia is probably made for anywhere between $1.5 million, $4 million. So that kind of makes it a low-end film in America. But I think we're not jaded yet. We've still got that excitement about it. It's like, ooh, I want to make a film. I think America has been doing this for so long, and there's so much competition over here that you get to have a jaded attitude towards it. If it's not a $50 million film with 4 superstars in it, well, why the hell would you want to go see it? And some of the best films are made for $3, and they have unknown actors who really are out there trying and making the film work. And I prefer that. You get some really cool little. It's like the web series I'm doing. It's won 11 awards. It's this tiny little web series that's won 11 awards so far, and it's only been out for 6 months on the web. We haven't even got through our first season yet. And this is the whole point. These kids that are doing it, they're all young kids, they're all in their mid-30s, late 20s. So much talent, they give me the shits. It's like, you look at them and you go, my God, when I was your age, I was hoping I could actually get the acting to work. And these kids are out there with cameras and doing amazing special effects and the whole bit. And I think it's brilliant.
Technology has made it a lot easier as well.
Oh, yeah.
It's not, you don't have to have a big crew or anything. You can simplify the whole idea down and get a lot more accomplished with that.
Yeah, and it's good because it allows you to be creative. It allows you to make something that you want to make, and you don't have to go and have $1 million to do it. There are a lot of movies out there that seriously they shouldn't have bothered to waste the pixels on. But there are also a lot of films out there and a lot of web stuff being made that is damn near brilliant.
I know there's a ton of movies that I follow independent movies. That's my thing. I really do enjoy what's coming out here recently because there's a lot of heart in it. There's a lot of care to the storyline, and that's what really caught my eye with Nowhere Else is it looks like a big budget movie. It looks like it's millions of dollars, and it's clean, it's tight, and the story looks really good.
Yeah, we had a budget to do the film, but it was not the $10 million budget in any way, shape, or form. But with what we had, I think we did a really, really good job, and we made it work exceedingly well.
Is there a website people can go to?
Yeah, it's www.4scenefilms.com/nowhere else.
We'll also have that link up there for the YouTube trailer, and I do appreciate you taking the time with us. I really do.
My pleasure.
And definitely check that out, purecast.net. If you have any questions or need to get to the links, go to the Purecast Network page. We'll be putting a link at the video and everything up on the homepage this week. But
I'd just like to say I would go to the Fearcast website, because if you don't, I know where you live. I will come and get you.
You don't want that.
No, I wouldn't want that.